Hello, all you beautiful people out there, and welcome to Saturday Livestream, where we make fun of the Bible. Plus, we have a little other stuff for you aside from that. So, if that sounds like something you'd like, then stay tuned. First and foremost, as always, we have the comment of the week. And today's comment of the week goes to dun 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 Doorknob Head. And it is under Yahweh and Baal imagery. And he says, the more you learn of all the previous religions Christianity borrowed for its own mythology, the more it seems like a salt substitute. A, that is person A. Dude, that's not salt. Person B, it's salt substitute. Person A, it's not salt substitute either. It's sand, man. And person B, nah, bruh. You good? It's salt substitute. I thought that was funny. So anyway, so um, so let me explain. Hey, thank you very much, Paul. Thank you. Paul says, shh, it started. Thank you very much, Paul. Alrighty. Um, hey, Marianne. Uh, so, um, just for a little context, just in case you haven't seen my Yahweh and the Gods and Goddesses of Canaan series, it's not on a playlist, but if you go to my um, videos, it'll say Yahweh and followed by something. So just look for that. It'll start Yahweh and then you have whatever I'm talking about. So this is actually talking about the Israelite religion. But since the Christians borrowed from the Israelite religion, it also applies to Christianity. So I'm not going to explain it all because I've already explained it all. Thank you again, Paul. You are welcome, he says. So, so the Israelites do not come from one guy, okay? That's a total myth. And they didn't even come from 12 brothers, okay? That's also a total myth. They were an indigenous Canaanite movement after the Bronze Age collapse. And you can see all of this in my um I can't remember exactly what it's called, but something about the history. It's not called the history of Israel, but I think it might be called the beginnings of Israel or something like that. I'm not sure. It's been a while. So um so it tells you exactly where the Israelites came from. And um and of course, we've been through Exodus on this channel in this very Saturday live stream, and that's a bunch of bullshit. So, you know, um, at any rate, they're indigenous Canaanites, and so they borrowed from the Canaanites. So there's a lot of Baal imagery within the Israelite religion. The interesting thing is Yahweh is not a Canaanite god. Yahweh is probably imported from Midian. So there's that. So anyway, please go see the series on Israel, and please go see the series on Yahweh, and if you want more information on that. So, alrighty. Um, so the next thing on our agenda for today is this day in history. And it is Japan's surrender made public. In what later became known as Victory Day, an official announcement of Japan's unconditional surrender to the Allies is made public to the world on August 14th, 1945. Japan formally surrendered in writing 2 weeks later on September 2nd, 1945. Um, I don't know about other parts of the world, but in America, this is actually known as VJ Day, Victory over Japan. And when Germany surrendered, which was a bit earlier, that was VE Day, which is Victory in Europe Day. So there are actually two victory days in the United States, VE Day and VJ Day. Um, so, just a bit of trivia there. Uh, Going on, even though Japan's War Council, urged by Emperor Hirohito, had already submitted a declaration of surrender to the Allies via ambassadors, on August 10th, fighting continued between the Japanese and the Soviets in Manchuria and between the Japanese and the United States in the South Pacific. Um, just want to tell you, this wasn't because Japan was violating the agreement. In those days, it just took a while for surrender shit to get out. So just putting that out there. In fact, 2 days after the council agreed to surrender, a Japanese submarine attacked the Oak Hill, an American landing ship, and the Thomas F. Nickel, an American destroyer, both east of Okinawa. On the afternoon of August 15th in Japan, because of time zone differences, Japanese radio announced that an imperial proclamation was soon to be made accepting the terms of unconditional surrender drawn up at the Potsdam Conference. That proclamation had already been recorded by the emperor. The news did not go over well, as more than 1,000 Japanese soldiers stormed the imperial palace in an attempt to find the proclamation and prevent its being transmitted to the Allies. Soldiers still loyal to the Emperor Hirohito, sorry for my horrible pronunciation, repulsed the attackers. That evening, General Anami, the member of the War Council most adamant against surrender, committed suicide. His reason: to atone for the Japanese army's defeat and to be spared having to hear his emperor speak the words of surrender. Okay. So, at this time, in Japanese history, it was considered unthinkable for the emperor to surrender. It was also considered unthinkable for any Japanese to surrender. Not just the emperor, but any Japanese. So according to the Japanese view, this was not a coward's way out. It was a hero's way out. Um, it was basically it was basically akin to um, kamikazes flying into American planes. And I'm pretty sure this just got demonetized. That's okay. So, so an interesting little tidbit about this. Um, okay, Marianne. Hey, Mr. Shadow Kitty. Um, an interesting little tidbit on World War II. A few years ago, I'm not sure how many years ago, but it was on the television, um, and I remember it. So it wasn't that long ago. Um, there was a Japanese soldier that was in the forests of some island, I believe, and he thought he genuinely thought that World War II was still going on. And he, and I mean, somebody found him, right? And they were like, hey, dude, the war ended like over 50 years ago, you know? And he would not believe them. I mean, more than one person told him this, and he would not believe them. So luckily, his um, commander, um, the one that was uh, um, directly in charge of him, um, he was still alive. That commander was still alive. So they flew that commander out of Japan to um, formally relieve the soldier of duty because that was the only way that he was going to, put down his sword because in his mind he was still fighting for his country and his emperor. Yes, Nevermore. So that was a very recent thing. So, you know, um, it was, I think that was very sad to know that, somebody was still under the impression that World War II was going on. But you got to understand, he was in the jungle somewhere. And I mean, he didn't have TV or radio or internet or anything like that. So, at any rate, um, so I just thought I'd give you little tidbits here and there. Oh, really, Mr. Shadow Kitty? I didn't realize that. I did not realize that. Wow. At any rate, um, so now we get on to dun, 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 the main event, which is making fun of the Bible. And today we are covering the rest of the book of Joshua. And we start with Joshua 21. Now, the family the family heads of the Levites approached Eleazar the priest, Joshua son of Nun, and the heads of the other tribal families of Israel at Shiloh in Canaan and said to them, "The Lord commanded through Moses that you give us towns to live in, with pasture lands for our livestock. So, as the Lord had commanded, the Israelites gave the Levites the following towns and pasture lands out of their own inheritance. The first lot came out of the Kohathites, according to their clans. The Levites, who were descendants of Aaron the priest, were allotted 13 towns from the tribes of Judah, Simeon, and Benjamin. The rest of Kohath's descendants were allotted 10 towns from the clans of tribes of Ephraim, Dan, and half of Manasseh. Hang on just a second. Sorry about that. I just muted my microphone so the the cell cell phone wouldn't come through because I couldn't reach it to turn it off in time. So anyway, getting back, um, I already have a question. Wouldn't the Kohathites have been of the same tribe? Why would the Kohathites be in different tribes? That makes no sense. Um, so, oh, maybe Kohath was a descendant of Aaron. I don't know. It's kind of jumbled. But anyway, um, yeah, it is. The Kohathites were Aaron's descendants, so my bad. Yeah, tell me about it, Nevermore. But still, that's my bad. The Kohathites were Aaron's descendants, so that does make sense. Verse 6. The descendants of Gershon were allotted 13 towns from the clans of the tribes of Issachar, Asher, Naphtali, and the half tribe of Manasseh in Bashan. Why does the poor half tribe of Manasseh have to bear the brunt of all of this? They're just a goddamn half tribe after all. Why not get one of the bigger tribes for Pete's sake? Verse 7. The descendants of Merari, according to their clans, received 12 towns from the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and Zebulun. So the Israelites allotted to the Levites these towns and their pasture lands as the Lord had commanded through Moses. From the tribes of Judah and Simeon, they allotted the following towns by name. These towns were assigned to the descendants of Aaron, who were from the Kohathite clans of the Levites, because the first lot fell to them. So, yes, I was wrong. Um, my apologies for that. I just read it wrong. Verse 11, they gave them Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron, with its surrounding pasture land in the hill country of Judah. Arba was the forefather of Anak, but the fields and villages around the city they had given to Caleb, son of Jephunneh, as his possession. Just a second. Sorry about that. I had to cough and I didn't want to cough into the microphone.
Yeah, you didn't want to spread the virus over the computer.
Yeah, I didn't want to spread the virus over the computer. No, I'm vaccinated. Even though I have heard that the CDC recommends a booster now, so we'll have to wait and see. Um, let's see. Verse 13. So to the descendants of Aaron the priest, they gave Hebron a city of refuge for one accused of murder. Libnah, Jatir, Eshtemoa, Holon, Debir, Ain, Judah, and Beth Shemesh, together with their pasture lands, 9 towns from these two tribes. And yes, please, you can laugh at me for my horrible pronunciation. Which, by the way, I don't even know why they bothered to do this because this is complete bullshit. But, I mean, they say, and I don't know this because I don't try to deliberately deceive people, right? But they say that if you want to tell a lie, tell it big enough, add details, and it makes it more believable. So maybe that's why. Gotcha, Nevermore. Uh, so, verse 17. And from the tribe of Benjamin they gave them Gibeon, Geba, Anathoth, and Almon, together with their pasture lands, 4 towns. The total number of towns for the priests, the descendants of Aaron, came to 13, together with their pasture lands. The rest of the Kohathite clans of the Levites were allotted towns from the tribe of Ephraim. In the hill country of Ephraim, they were given Shechem, a city of refuge, for one accused of murder, and Gezer, Kibzaim, and Beth Horon, together with their pasture lands, 4 towns. Also, from the tribe of Dan, they received Eltekeh, Gibbethon, Aijalon, and Gath Rimmon, together with their pasture lands, 4 towns. From half the tribe of Manasseh, they received Tanakh and Gath Rimmon, together with their pasture lands, 2 towns. All these 10 towns and their pasture lands were given to the rest of the Kohathite clan. Uh, okay. So, verse 27. The Levite clans of the Gershonites were given. I just got to ask, why is the Bible doing all of this? I mean, first of all, it's bullshit. But I mean, yeah, I mean, if you want to sell your lie, you want to make it as detailed as possible. Um, obviously, um, if if you're a good liar, you want to do that. If you're not a good lie, if you're not a good liar, don't fucking lie. It's just gonna get you in trouble, okay? You're gonna get caught in your lie. Um, but anyway, I just want to know why go into all this detail. Why not just say, okay, the Israelites gave the Levites these out of that town. Hey, Lisa. Sorry, I didn't get the banner up. There you go. So I I have no idea why they're doing this all by clans. You know, why didn't they just say this is what the what the 11 tribes of Israel gave to the Levites and then be done with it? That doesn't make any sense to me. But anyway, um getting back to this bullshit, verse 28, from the tribe of Issachar, Kishion, Dabarath, Jarmuth, and Ganim, together with their pasture lands, 4 towns. From the tribe of Asher, Mishal, Abdon, Helkath, and Rehab, together with their pasture lands, 4 towns. From the tribe of Naphtali, Kadesh in Galilee, a city of refuge for one accused of murder, Hamath, Dor, and Carton, together with their pasture lands, 3 towns. The total number of towns of the Gershonite clans came to 13, together with their pasture lands. The Merarite clans, the rest of the Levites, oh, thank goodness. We're almost to the end of this shit. This is true, Nevermore. You know, or the other option is you can just gaslight. You know, like the fucking televangelists are doing with, oh, I didn't really say April whatever for Trump to be back in office. I didn't really say that. What I meant to say was blah, blah, blah. And then that date comes and goes, and then they gaslight again. Anyway, not what we're talking about. The Merarite clans, the rest of the Levites, were given from the tribe of Zebulun, Jokneam, Karta, Dimnan, and Nahalal, together with their pasture lands, 4 towns. From the tribe of Reuben, Bezer, Jahaz, Kedemoth, and Methath, together with their pasture lands, 4 towns. From the tribe of Gad, Ramoth, and Gilead, a city of refuge for one accused of murder, Mahanaim, Heshbon, and Jazer, together with their pasture lands, 4 towns in all. The total number of towns allotted to the Merarite clans, who were the rest of the Levites, came to 12. The towns of the Levites in the territory held by the Israelites were 48 in all, together with their pasture lands. Each of these towns had pasture lands surrounding it. This is true for all these towns. So the Lord gave Israel all the land he had sworn to give their ancestors, and they took possession of it and settled there. The Lord gave them rest on every side, just as he had sworn to their ancestors. Not one of their enemies withstood them. The Lord gave all their enemies into their hands. Not one of all the Lord's good promises to Israel failed. Every one was fulfilled. Except, of course, in the hill country, God couldn't defeat iron chariots, which I think we're going to get to, or have already gotten to. I can't remember which. Anyway, this fucking book is driving me fucking nuts. What, Nevermore? Gaslighting? Yes, I agree. That is crossing the line into abusive behavior. Okay. Now we're done with all that bullshit. Now we got more bullshit to go. Uh, Chapter 22. Then Joshua summoned the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half tribe of Manasseh, and said to them, You have done all that Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded, and you have obeyed me in everything I commanded. For a long time now, to this very day, you have not deserted your fellow Israelites, but have carried out the mission the Lord your God gave you. Now that the Lord your God has given them rest, as he promised, return to your homes in the land that Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave you on the other side of the Jordan. But be very careful to keep the commandment and the law that Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave you, to love the Lord your God, to walk in obedience to him, to keep his commands, to hold fast to him, and to serve him with all your heart and with all your soul. Um, I can sum this all up in one phrase. Continue sucking God's dick. Sorry, godless engineer. If you're going to come up with such a catchy phrase, you're going to have people borrowing it. This is true, Lisa. Verse 6. Then Joshua blessed them and sent them away, and they went to their homes. To the half tribe of Manasseh, Moses had given land in Bashan, and to the other half of the tribe, Joshua gave land on the west side of the Jordan along with their fellow Israelites. When Joshua sent them home, he blessed them, saying, Return to your homes with your great wealth, with large herds of livestock, with silver, gold, bronze, and iron, and a great quantity of clothing, and divide the plunder from your enemies with your fellow Israelites. So the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half tribe of Manasseh left the Israelites at Shiloh in Canaan to return to Gilead, their own land, which they had acquired in accordance with the command of the Lord through Moses. When they came to Geliloth, near the Jordan in the land of Canaan, the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half tribe of Manasseh built an imposing altar there by the Jordan. And when the Israelites heard that they had built the altar on the border of Canaan at Geliloth, near the Jordan on the Israelite side, the whole assembly of Israel gathered at Shiloh to go to war against them. Why? Fucking why? All they did was put up a fucking altar. Hey, African humanist, what the fuck is wrong with these people? I mean, hello, these people. Granted, this is all bullshit, but according to this book, these people helped you defeat the rest of the people on the other side of the Jordan. So why the fuck are you now gonna go to war with them? Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any fucking sense. Uh, Verse 13. So the Israelites sent Phinehas, son of Eleazar the priest, to the land of Gilead, to Reuben, Gad, and the half tribe of Manasseh. With him they sent 10 of the chief men, one from each of the tribes of Israel, each the head of a family division among the Israelite clans. When they went to Gilead, to the Reuben, Gad, and half tribe of Manasseh, they said to them, "The whole assembly of the Lord says, how could you break faith with the God of Israel like this?" How the fuck did they break faith? They made an altar to God. What the fuck are you doing, Israel? Are you that war hungry? Are you that blood hungry that finally you have peace and you can't stand it? Not that this ever happened. Like I said, it's all bullshit. I keep having to remind people of that, by the way. Are you that blood hungry that when you finally get peace, that you have to go to war with your quote unquote fellow brothers? Makes no fucking sense. Okay, okay, so let's start back with verse 15. When they went to Gilead, to Reuben, Gad, and the half tribe of Manasseh, they said to them, "The whole assembly of the Lord says," correction, not the whole assembly of the Lord, only 9.5 tribes. Only 9.5 tribes. Not the whole assembly of the Lord. Anyway, moving on. How could you break faith with the God of Israel like this? Hang on, I got 2 pages stuck together. Sometimes I really hate this paper thin, this toilet tissue thin paper that this is on. How could you turn away from the Lord and build yourselves an altar in rebellion against him now? They weren't building an altar against the Lord, for fuck's sake. They were building an altar to the Lord. What the fuck is wrong with these people? Verse 17. Was not the sin of Peor enough for us? Up to this very day, we have not cleansed ourselves from that sin, even though a plague fell on the community of the Lord. And are you now turning away from the Lord? They aren't turning away from fucking God, even though they should. I mean, come on. Suck my dick or I'm gonna kill you. Seriously? Hey, Iron Charioteer. If you rebel against the Lord today, tomorrow he will be angry with the whole community of Israel. What the fuck is wrong with these people? They didn't rebel, for fuck's sake. They built an altar to the Lord. How many times do I have to fucking say that? Out of all the Israelites, out of all the 9.5 tribes of Israel on the other side of the Jordan, not one fucking person could figure this out. Verse 19. If the land you possess is defiled, come over to the Lord's land where the Lord's tabernacle stands, and share the land with us. But do not rebel against the Lord or against us by building an altar for yourselves other than the altar of the Lord our God. When Achan, son of Zerah, was unfaithful in regard to the devoted things, did not wrath come on the whole community of Israel? He was not the only one who died for his sin. Well, that's just fucked up. First of all, there's no such thing as sin. No, Iron, that's Joseph in Genesis. First of all, there's no such thing as sin. Second of all, depending on where you read in the law of Moses in the Torah, depending on where you read, the one guy who sinned is going to bear his sin, or the whole family is going to bear his sin, depending on where you read in the Torah. It's not the whole fucking Israel, okay? So what the fuck are these people even thinking? 21. Then Reuben, Gad, and the half tribe of Manasseh replied to the heads of the clans of Israel, the mighty one, God the Lord. The mighty one, God the Lord, he knows, and let Israel know. If this has been done in rebellion or disobedience to the Lord, do not spare us this day. If we have built our own altar to turn away from the Lord and to offer burnt offerings and grain offerings, or to sacrifice fellowship offerings on it, may the Lord himself call us to account. No, we did it for fear that someday your descendants might say to ours, what do you have to do with the Lord, the God of Israel? Thank you. For fuck's sake. Are the Israelites, are the 9.5 tribes on the other side of the Jordan this stupid? Nobody could figure this out. Seriously. Nobody could figure this out. I don't think so, Eric. I don't think so, Iron. Verse 25. The Lord has made the Jordan a boundary between us and you Reubenites and Gadites. You have no share in the Lord. So your descendants might cause ours to stop fearing the Lord. That is why we said, let us get ready and build an altar, but not for burnt offerings or sacrifices. On the contrary, it is to be a witness between us and you and the generations that follow, that we will worship the Lord at his sanctuary with our burnt offerings, sacrifices, and fellowship offerings. Then in the future, your descendants will not be able to say to ours, you have no share in the Lord. Verse 28. And we said, if they ever say this to us or to our descendants, we will answer, look at the replica of the Lord's altar, which our ancestors built, not for burnt offerings and sacrifices, but as a witness between us and you. Okay, question. In this time and place, altars were usually made from stone. Where the fuck is this altar? Seriously, if this is not bullshit, where's the fucking altar? It should still be there, right? I mean, granted, there's been a lot of unrest in the region, but yeah, I mean, seriously, this makes no fucking sense. No fucking sense whatsoever. Verse 29. Far be it from us to rebel against the Lord and turn away from him today by building an altar for burnt offerings, grain offerings, and sacrifices other than the altar of the Lord our God that stands before his tabernacle. Why should the only altar stand before the goddamn tabernacle? For fuck's sake, there have been multiple altars, not just the one in front of the tabernacle. And remember, they were according to this book, which is total bullshit, they were traveling in the wilderness for 40 years. So, they had to take the tabernacle with them whenever they up and moved. So they had to build another fucking altar every fucking time they moved. Sometimes this book drives me fucking crazy. Alrighty. Verse 30. When Phinehas the priest and the leaders of the community, the heads of the clans of the Israelites, heard what Reuben, Gad, and Manasseh had to say, they were pleased. And Phinehas, son of Eleazar the priest, said to Reuben, Gad, and Manasseh, today we know that the Lord is with us, because you have not been unfaithful to the Lord in this matter. Now you have rescued the Israelites from the Lord's hands. Then Phinehas, son of Eleazar the priest, and the leaders returned to Canaan from their meeting with the Reubenites and Gadites in Gilead and reported to the Israelites. They were glad to hear the report and praised God. And they talked no more about going to war against them to devastate the country where the Reubenites and the Gadites lived. And the Reubenites and the Gadites gave the altar this name, a witness between us that the Lord is God. Ugh. I'm sorry, this is just frustrating. We only have 2 more chapters to go, people, which is fucking good. Thank you, Lisa. Tell me about it, Iron Charioteer. Gee, God must have gotten lost. Imagine that. All powerful God got lost. That's pretty funny, Lisa. All right, chapter 23. Let's get on with this fucking shit show. Chapter 23. After a long time had passed, I love how vague they are. What the fuck is a long time? After a long time had passed, and the Lord had given Israel rest from all their enemies around them, Joshua, by then a very old man, um, Yeah, I think you missed that one by a lot. According to the fucking Bible, when they entered over into the quote unquote promised land, he was already 80 years old. So he was already a fucking old man by the time. Uh, what can I say? What can I say? Verse 2 summoned all Israel, their elders, leaders, judges, and officials, and said to them, I am very old. No shit. You yourselves have seen everything the Lord your God has done to all these nations for your sake. No, he didn't. It was the Lord your God who fought for you. Remember how I have allotted an inheritance for your tribes, all the land of the nations that remain, the nations I conquered. Way to go, Joshua. Between the Jordan and the Mediterranean Sea in the west, the Lord your God himself will push them out for your sake. He will drive them out before you, and you will take possession of their land, as the Lord God promised you. Now keep in mind, even the United Monarchy, which didn't last very long, was not that big. Was not that big. It was not from the Jordan to the Mediterranean. This is fucking bullshit. Verse 6 Be very strong. Be careful to obey all that is written in the book of the law of Moses, without turning aside to the right or to the left. Suck God's dick or he's gonna kill you. Verse 7 Do not associate with these nations that remain among you. Okay, didn't the Bible say that God was going to give all the nations into their hands and they were going to kill all the nations? And then it flip flopped and said they left some of the nations alive. Okay, if the Bible is infallible, why would it say in one place that God's going to give you all the nations and you're going to kill everybody, and then in another place, oh no, I changed my mind, you know um I'm going to leave some of them alive. Hey, blessed be he. Yep, that's us, scoffers and mockers. Stick around, you might learn something. All right, where was I? Verse 3 You yourselves have seen everything the Lord your God has done to all these nations for your sake. It was the Lord your God who fought for you. Remember how I have allotted as an inheritance for your tribes all the land of the nations that remain, the nations I conquered, uh, between the Jordan and the Mediterranean Sea in the west. The Lord your God himself will push them out for your sake. He will drive them out before you, and you will take possession of their land as the Lord your God promised you. Verse 6, okay. Verse 7 Do not associate with these nations that remain among you. Do not invoke the names of their gods or swear by them. You must not serve them or bow down to them, but you are to hold fast to the Lord your God. Translation: suck his dick. as you have until now. Okay, blessed be he. I understand that you're a Christian. Okay, I get that. I don't care. You can come here. I I don't mind at all. Okay, but the thing is, archaeology and history disproves your fucking book. So even though I am mocking, I don't really have to because academics have already disproven it. Tell me about it, Lisa. Verse 9, the Lord has driven out before you great and powerful nations. So why didn't he drive out everybody? Was he really all that weak? Seriously? To this day, no one has been able to withstand you. Okay, if nobody's been able to withstand them, why the fuck are there still nations in their midst? True, Lisa. And they would understand his bullshit, but that's a whole nother topic. Verse 11, so be very careful to love the Lord your God. But if you turn away and ally yourselves with the survivors of these nations that remain among you, and if you intermarry with them and associate with them, then you may be sure that the Lord your God will no longer drive out these nations before you. Instead, they will become snares and traps for you, whips on your back and thorns in your eyes, until you perish from this good land which the Lord your God has given you. Yep, suck my dick or die. Verse 14, now I am about to go the way of all the earth. That's the Bible way of saying, I'm going to kick the bucket. You know with all your heart and soul that not one of all the good promises the Lord your God gave you has failed. Every promise has been fulfilled. Not one has failed. Citation fucking needed. Aside from this fucking book, where is the evidence aside from this fucking book? Verse 15. But just as all the good things the Lord your God has promised you have come to you, so he will bring on you all the evil things he has threatened until the Lord your God has destroyed you from this good land he has given you. Yeah, fear's a great way to rule, God. Great way to rule. You do know that all the kings in history have learned in the very wrong way. I mean, in horrible ways. Every fucking king in history has learned in very horrible ways. Yes, blessed be. Every fucking king in history has learned in horrible ways that fear is not the way to rule. verse 16. If you violate the covenant of the Lord your God, which he commanded you, and go and serve other gods and bow to them, the Lord's anger will burn against you, and you will quickly perish from the good land he has given you. Another threat. Fear me or die. Suck my dick or die. This is true, Lisa. Nope. I was a Christian for 40 fucking years, blessed be he. Fuck that nonsense. I'm much happier now. Chapter 24. And this is the last chapter before we get to Judges. Oh man, when we get to Judges, we get to a lot of fucked up stories in Judges. Like we haven't already heard a lot of fucked up stories, but we get to a lot of fucked up stories in Judges. Just a heads up. Then Joshua assembled all the tribes of Israel at Shechem. He summoned the elders, leaders, judges, and officials of Israel, and they presented themselves before God. Joshua said to all the people, "This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. Long ago, your ancestors, including Terah, the father of Abraham and Nahor, lived beyond the Euphrates River and worshipped other gods. But I took your father Abraham from the land beyond the Euphrates and led him throughout Canaan and gave him many descendants. I gave him Isaac, and to Isaac I gave Jacob and Esau. I assigned the hill country of Seir to Esau, but Jacob and his family went down to Egypt. Then I sent Moses and Aaron, and I afflicted the Egyptians by what I did there, and I brought you out." Bullshit. The Israelites were never slaves in Egypt, at least not en masse. All right, where was I? Verse 6. When I brought your people out of Egypt, you came to the sea, and the Egyptians pursued them with chariots and horsemen as far as the Red Sea, but they cried to the Lord for help, and he put darkness between you and the Egyptians. That's not how I remember it. That's not how I remember it. I remember it as, according to this fucking book, which, I mean, totally fucked up, and the Exodus never happened, but that's neither here nor there. According to this fucking book, Israel complained to Moses that he had brought them out of Egypt to die by the sword in the wilderness. That's how I remember it. Verse 7, but they cried to the Lord for help, and he put darkness between you and the Egyptians. He brought the sea over them and covered them. You saw with your own eyes what I did to the Egyptians. Then you lived in the wilderness for a long time. No, that's not what happened. They did not see with their own eyes. According to this fucking book, these people aren't the same people that came out of Egypt. The people who came out of Egypt died in the wilderness. Can't they even keep their fucking lies straight? I guess they can't. All right. Verse 8. I brought you to the land of the Amorites who lived east of the Jordan. They fought against you, but I gave them into your hands. I destroyed them from before you, and you took possession of their land. When Balak, son of Zippor, the king of Moab, prepared to fight against Israel, he sent for Balaam, son of Beor, to put a curse on you, but I would not listen to Balaam. So he blessed you again and again, and I delivered you out of his hand. Then you crossed the Jordan and came to Jericho. The citizens of Jericho fought against you, as did also the Amorites, Perizzites, Canaanites, Hittites, Girgashites, Hivites, Jebusites, but I gave them into your hands. Bullshit. Jericho wasn't even around at this time. And even if it was, it didn't have a wall. Bullshit. Learn your fucking archaeology. Verse 12. I sent the hornet ahead of you, which drove out before you also the two Amorite kings. I don't remember that one. There is no hell. Hell's just a control mechanism for the churches. You did not do it with your own sword and bow. So I gave you a land on which you did not toil, and cities you did not build, and you live in them and eat from vineyards and olive groves that you did not plant. I'm face palming right now. How many times do I have to say Israel didn't exist when this was purported to have been written? Israel was a indigenous Canaanite movement after the collapse of the Bronze Age. There wouldn't have been any olive groves and all that shit to take over. Verse 14. Now fear the Lord, suck his dick, and serve him with all faithfulness. Throw away the gods your ancestors worshipped beyond the Euphrates River and in Egypt, and serve the Lord. But if serving the Lord seems undesirable to you, then choose for yourselves this day whom you will serve, whether the gods your ancestors served beyond the Euphrates or the gods of the Amorites in whose land you are living. But as for me and my household, we will serve the Lord. Then the people answered, Far be it from us to forsake the Lord to serve other gods. It was the Lord our God himself who brought us and our parents up out of Egypt from that land of slavery. No, he didn't. Learn your history and archaeology. It's there in the fucking Egyptian records. You know what? If you want to disprove all this bullshit, take some Egyptology courses. Hey, Lone Wanderer. All right, let me find my place again. Verse 16, then the people answered, far be it from us to forsake the Lord, to serve other gods. It was the Lord our God himself who brought us and our parents out of Egypt from that land of slavery and performed those great signs before our eyes. He did not perform those great signs before your eyes, you fucking idiots. You can't even keep your lies straight. They weren't even alive at this time. That generation supposedly died in the fucking wilderness. That's why they wandered in the fucking wilderness for 40 years. He protected us on our entire journey and among all the nations through which we traveled. And the Lord drove out before us all the nations, including the Amorites who lived in the land. Really? If the Lord drove out all the Amorites who lived in the land, then why the fuck are there still Amorites in the land? You just said there were Amorites still in the land. You fucking idiot. No such thing as sin, blessed be he. Verse 18, and the Lord drove out before us all the nations, including the Amorites who lived in the land. We too will serve the Lord because he is our God. Fine. Suck God's dick. Fine with me. Suck God's dick. Doesn't matter to me. He's a made up fucking tyrant that beats all the fucking tyrants that have ever lived. Thank goodness he's not real. Verse 19, Joshua said to the people, you are not able to serve the Lord. He is a holy God. Oh, gee, thanks, Joshua. Thank you very, very, very much for, just insulting us. He is a holy God. He is a jealous God. Wouldn't that mean he's not God? Didn't God say something about don't be jealous? I remember him saying something about don't be jealous in the Torah. He will not forgive your rebellion and your sins. If you forsake the Lord and serve foreign gods, he will turn and bring disaster on you and make an end of you after he has been good to you. But the people said to Joshua, no, we will serve the Lord. Then Joshua said, you are witnesses against yourselves that you have chosen to serve the Lord. Yes, we are witnesses, they replied. Yeah, because if they don't, they're gonna fucking die. Verse 23. Now then, said Joshua, throw away the foreign gods that are among you, and yield your hearts to the Lord, the God of Israel. And the people said to Joshua, we will serve the Lord our God and obey him. Translation, we're going to suck his dick. Verse 25. On that day, Joshua made a covenant for the people, and there at Shechem, he reaffirmed for them decrees and laws. And Joshua recorded these things in the book of the law of God. Then he took a large stone and set it up there under the oak near the holy place of the Lord. That should also still be there. Maybe not the oak. Not quite sure how long oaks live. They live a long time, but I don't think they live like 3,000 years. Verse 27. But I mean, the stone should be there. Didn't he put anything in the stone like, hey, I'm Joshua? So what, shouldn't we find it? Verse 27. See, he said to all the people, this stone will be a witness against us. It has heard all the words the Lord has said to us. It will be a witness against you if you are untrue to your God. Wow. So now you're anthropomorphizing a stone. Great, Joshua. Verse 28. Then Joshua dismissed the people, each to their own inheritance. Verse 29. After these things, Joshua, son of Nun, servant of the Lord, died at the age of 110. Sure he did. Verse 30. And they buried him in the land of his inheritance at Timnath Serah, in the hill country of Ephraim, north of Mount Agash. Israel served the Lord throughout the lifetime of Joshua and of the elders who outlived him and who had experienced everything the Lord had done for Israel. And Joseph's bones, which the Israelites had brought up from Egypt, were buried at Shechem in the tract of land that Jacob bought for 100 pieces of silver from the sons of Hamor, the father of Shechem. This became the inheritance of Joseph's descendants. And Eleazar, son of Aaron, died and was buried at Gibeah, which had been allotted to his son Phinehas in the hill country of Ephraim. Wow. Just wow. Yeah, right, Nevermore? How come they can't find that stone? Takes a lot of time for stones to weather, you know. They should be able to find it, especially if it's been sheltered. I mean, fucking gee whiz. All right, that's it for Joshua. Thank goodness. Now we get to Judges, which has really, really ridiculous stories. Really. This is where the shit hits the roof. You think we've had ridiculous stories up until now? You haven't heard anything yet. The shit's gonna hit the fan. And it just gets sillier from here. It just gets sillier from here. Okay, so a couple of channel announcements. I haven't been making I've been making here and there edited videos, but I haven't posted any. And that's because it's been fucking hot here. And I can't really um, record the videos um, for very long without getting fucking hot. So that's why I haven't posted an edited video in a while. It should start getting cooler. Um, and so I should have one up on Tuesday. Oh, Lisa, you're gonna get creeped out even more. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. You're gonna get fuck. You're gonna get seriously. They're gonna get fucked up even more. Nevermore. We live in a valley, the Willamette Valley, and they say it's been they've had smoke in some parts of the valley, but I have not seen smoke. Doesn't mean it's not happening. It just hasn't shown up on in my part of the valley. Thank you, Lisa. So anyway, if you hear something in the background, it is a fan going because it's so fucking hot. Um, it it's not as hot as it has been, but it is so hot right now. It's 95, and we don't have any fucking central air conditioning. So I do have a portable air conditioner, but you know, it's got to be near a window. Uh, so at any rate, so yeah, I'm almost finished with an edited video, and hopefully I'll have that out on Tuesday. All right, Nevermore. Thank you. Alrighty, so that's the end of Saturday live stream. Don't forget to like, subscribe if you like my content and you think it's worth supporting. Please become a channel member, or you can do a one-time uh, donation on patreon.com. All links are in the description. I will see you tomorrow for Atheist Church, and I will see you guys later. Bye.